Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Native Wellness Institute's Power Hour for May 3rd. My name is Mick Rose. She'e Mick Rose inashe, hogan flana nishle, do nakadene ebashishchin, White Buffalo Omaha dishiche, Bilagana dishinale. My name is Mick Rose. I am based out of Portland, Oregon, and work for the Native American Youth and Family Center. And joining me today is Claudia, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Claudia Cuentas. I am from Peru. I am right now in what they call Portland, Oregon, the land of the Huasco communities, the Wishram, the Mulnoma, the Clackamas, the Huasco. It's an honor to be here on Turtle Island, here in the northern part of the hemisphere. My lineages are Aymara and Quechua, and it is an honor to be here and a joy to be here with Mick today. Buenos días.
Thank you. We are going to be kind of kicking off MMIWR week with Native Wellness Institute, and I'm part of the organizing committee, and so filling in today for Jolene and crew, which is quite an honor and exciting, fun, a little bit nervous. So, but yeah, we are, as an organizing committee, have done a few intentional things this year. One of which is kind of changing our focus and our hashtag to really uplift relatives. So MMIWR, so missing and murdered Indigenous women and relatives, and really uplifting that all genders are subject to violence, colonial violence, and ensuring that we really center healing and wellness. And so some of the things that and the events that will be happening this week are going to center that wellness piece, and recognizing that this is a very triggering time for our community, and not just our Indigenous community on Turtle Island, but extended Indigenous community. We all suffer at this type of colonial violence, and our women and relatives all suffer. So one of the things that we are going to be talking about today is healing with Claudia. Claudia has been working with me and NAIA Family Center to bring Indigenous healing techniques, somatic healing techniques, to our staff, and by extension to our youth and community. And we're just so blessed to have her a part of our community, and for the knowledge that she shares and the gifts that she shares with our community. So yeah, just wondering if Claudia, if you wanted to talk a little bit about that, some of the work that you do.
Yes, thank you. So I've been here since I was 18 years old in Turtle Island from the south, and part of my inquiry since being here has been a lot about healing. I come from a family of social justice, community, musicians and healers, artists from my lineage, especially from my lineage from my father's side, from Puno, the Aymara communities. And inquiry and a curiosity for me has always been on how do we continue healing ourselves, and how do we continue remembering, even though there's so much challenge happening at all times, for us to reconnect to the earth and reconnect to our ways. So while being here, I study somatic therapy, and the ability to understand how actually our nervous system works, and how that is so deeply connected to the ways in which we in Peru and then in the Andes uh, conceptualize what healing is, which is truly the ability of us to continue being in good flow in our physical bodies, in our mental, psychological, emotional bodies, and in our spirit bodies. So when I arrived here and I started to study somatic healing techniques, and how that it was just really a parallel to all the ways in which we conceptualize nervous system being the electrical uh, current in the physiology of our bodies to be able to be in healthy relationship with ourselves, with the earth, with each other. So what I do now is uh, I'm a therapist, or I have a practice working one-on-one with people, and I also work with communities. And it's been amazing to work with Naya for the last couple of years with incredible community leadership there to really just talk about how can we decolonize our healing, how can we actually have all the information we need to heal ourselves, because the way in which we what we believe is, and we are our own healers, we are our own doctors, and if we have the information we need to actually release, transmute, transform all that which has happened to us, we have an ability to get back into wellness. And that is our birthright. To get back into wellness is our birthright. And with that said, too, acknowledging how much of the trauma and the pain that systemically we're holding and the earth herself is holding, and how much injustice and how much pain is in the environment we're in, we have to do a combination between self-healing techniques to be able to keep this vessel in a healthy way, allowing it to replenish and restore as needed, but also be in connection to earth and to each other in the best ceremonial ways we can, to actually support the healing of our Mother Earth, and to have each other, to not hold that pain by ourselves but with each other. So it's almost like a mixture of doing it ourselves and then being in community and doing healing community work, um, uh, remembering our ceremonial work, remembering our rituals and in the ways we commute with earth, and then coming back to personal, and then going back again to the communal, to keep a balance in our systems, in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, in our energy, um, because there's so much work to do, and all of us are needed to to be in the process of healing, and good company with one another, and good relationship with one another. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I feel like that's why it's so easy for our staff and for our youth to connect with the teachings that you give us, because it is all the same. It is all the same teachings. Um, would you mind sharing a bit about maybe kind of some of the, or a technique that you might use with us in beginning of that healing, or like when you talk about like, I think something that really connected with me when you first came was when you were talking about breath. And when, you know, I think sometimes when we think about healing collectively, it's like this, there's a lot of like outward, you know, thinking about kind of being in relation to each other. But when you talk about breath, it kind of brings me back into my body, and then I'm able to like center and then do that with other people. So maybe just talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Breath is this amazing tool we have, one of the most incredible and powerful tools we have for our self-healing journey. And it has to do with the way my teachers have taught it to me, and my elders have taught it to me, is then breath, truly what it is it is light. And what happens when we inhale through the nose and we have air touch the hair follicles in our nose, what we're really doing is inhaling light. And we have the ability to direct that light wherever we need to in our bodies, to be able to transform density into lightness. So healing healing is the transforming of energy from a dense state to a light state. So it's basically, energy is not good or bad, it's just dense, painful, unconscious, difficult, or light, conscious, connected, aware. So in some ways, what we healing is about, how do we learn techniques to transmute density and pain into um, consciousness, health, lightness, joy. So it's truly everything in our lives, what are the things we can do in our lives to be able to do that transmutation and that transformation. That is why art is so important. Art is our our ability to transmute and transform, and through creation and through connection, to be able to go from that state of deep density into deep, and to a state of lightness, and even sharing it in the outside. So with breathing, we have a specific technique where then I'm always sharing it, and I want everybody to practice it because it's so strong and so powerful, and is in us. So if you inhale through your nose the air, and you send that light wherever you are have a pain or density or sadness in your body, you hold it for 1 to 2 seconds, and then when you're ready, you're going to lift up your chin, open your mouth as much as you can, and exhale with sound. We'll do an example. Exhale with sound as much as you can until you don't have any more air, until you're all the way done with the air you have in your body. And then you take another inhale and an exhale with release, kind of like, oh, like you were done with the exercise. That in itself will create an ability to start the self healing process. And it is based on the concept of we are vibratory frequency, and this is from a place of everything in life is a movement of essence. Everything in life, then, I mean, when we see a baby, when we laugh, when we play a game, when we play music, when we dance, we are vibrating ourselves to a really high velocity, and what we call is a high frequency vibration. And we have the ability to bring that into our bodies as we need it to unlock pain, or unlock what we call trauma. So in our physical bodies, trauma is anything we went through that we couldn't digest. So for example, if I if I was a baby and I was learning to walk, and I am walking by a table and I bump my head on a table and I cry, cry, cry. If I have an adult that is close to me, they might hold me, sing to me, give me kisses, tell me, oh, bad table, you're not nice. Oh, baby, are you okay? And then I might cry, and the baby might cry, and the baby might want something to eat, and just maybe console, and then fall asleep, and then wake up again and keep walking, right? That's our resiliency. We have resilience in our bodies. But when something happens and it's terrible, when violence happens, when trauma happens, when scary things to our body happen, we tense up. And when we tense up, we have to do things to release that tension. Now, at times we cannot release attention in the moment, because if we are in a dangerous situation, the thing we need to do is to keep aware and awake to be safe. But at some point, we need to arrive to a place where we find the best safety we can to start releasing that tension. And releasing that tension is, again, unblocking wherever that energy of tension went to. Our bodies are like I use these to exemplify nervous system, because our bodies are full of these, in, imagine them all through your extremities and your organs, around your organs in your body. So this is like one little portion of the nervous system. When we are scared, we clumped up. When we feel trust, we're like this. When we are maybe resting with our sweetheart or our family, we're like this. Ah, it's so nice to relax. This is healthy. An ability to be kind of in a good back and forth oscillation between inhale and exhale. But when we have trauma, we do this. And if we don't shake these to release it into more opening, these will cause disease, this will cause numbness, this will cause pain, and also because of being so much, it will cause ways in which we won't be able to help ourselves. So how do we go from here to here? So I'll do the breath exercise with you. And if you want to do this with me from home, And Mick, if you want to join me with this, I'll do it. So we'll inhale through the nose, hold the air, tilt up the chin, exhale through the mouth with sound until we don't have any more air. Then inhale again and exhale with a sound of satisfaction. And that will be one round. Yeah? And do it? Okay. So inhale through your nose. Hold it for 1 or 2 seconds. Lift up your chin, direct the light wherever you need to, and exhale to the mouth with sound. Ah, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until you don't have any more air, until you are almost coughing because you don't have any more air. And then inhale again and exhale with a sound of satisfaction. Then move your head to the right and to the left. And maybe notice where you are. Notice colors, textures, shapes. Look behind you. And wiggle a little bit your shoulders, your body, your legs, the bottom. Should we do it one more time, Mick? Yeah,
Yeah.
do it one more time. Yeah. Okay. Inhale through your nose. Direct the light wherever you need it in your body. Open your mouth, tilt up your chin, exhale through the mouth with sound. Ah, open your mouth as much as you can. Ah, 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 ah. Doing until you don't have any more air. Open your mouth. And then again, inhale through the nose. Ah. And again, wiggle a little bit. You might find some releasing on your jaw area. This is where we hold a lot of tension. We get
Mm.
trauma and tension on the jaw, on the neck, on the shoulders, on the arms, and on the hands. A lot of that. So shake a little bit. Mhm. And that's one. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Since learning that from you, I use it quite often. And I think, just in my everyday life of like, when there's a lot of tension built up or hard things are happening and, there's so much coming in, trauma coming in through social media, what we're seeing in our cities and all different ways in our personal lives. And I feel like using that technique specifically has really helped me through some really hard times. And also, I think sometimes when I don't know how, like, what to offer somebody else that's going through a traumatic experience, or like when, they're feeling elevated and might need to come back to center, that one also really helps. We have a similar, so we teach that to our youth, and pretty much I share it with everyone I know. So thank you. But we also have a traditional game that we use called Run and Scream, and it has that same feeling. So we have like a line of kids at the end of a field, and they all have like a little stick. We usually like, decorate little sticks with things that they like maybe found feathers or things that, we find in nature. And we all have a stick at the end of a field, and on the count of three we all take a deep breath and we run as fast and far as we can while screaming at the same time with your stick, and you're like, ah. And when you run out of breath and you run out of breath, you got to stop there, and then you put your stick in the ground. And it's so much fun, and it feels really joyful, and it also like just feels like such a big release.
That sounds like an incredible. I would love to play that game. Can we play that game?
Yes, yes, we can. So fun.
That sounds
Yeah,
so healthy for all of us.
yeah. And I mean, I've used it when I'm in the car in traffic, and I know that I'm feeling grouchy and feeling like tension when I start looking at our cars and being like, you cut me off and you this, or, and so I'll just do a little bit of like breathing and then just scream as loud as I can in my car, because it really is such a good release. Like your whole body just like goes Oof. Yeah, so that's really wonderful one.
I'm so glad to hear that you share it, because I do that too, and I use it too all the time. You will hear me at different times just just we're holding so much lately, so much, always so much, and we have to find ways to release, because otherwise we explode. We just it comes out anyways. It comes out in other ways. So we have to find ways to, um in my car, I will do it, because it'll be sometimes a place that I could be by myself without anybody being nervous and I was screaming or making a big sound, and it just helps so much. It's almost like, uh, is that primal impulse then wants to just come and heal. I mean, and the truth, the way we the way we see it, and I think this is universal. We, to the original people that are connected to the earth, the way we see it is, we want to heal. I mean, everything is going towards healing. Everything is going towards, if we are given the opportunity, we want that to come out. So how do we find ways to do that? And sometimes doing that exercise will bring a lot of tears, because it's like you are unplugging, like you're unblocking something. And if our nervous system is in healthy way, when we are healthy, everything is flowing through our nervous system, through the systems of respiratory system, digestive system, reproductive system. Health is the natural flow of energy in all of our systems and in all of our bodies: physical body, mental, psychological, spirit, energy body. So if we are constantly seeing things or exposed to things or living things and are so, aggressive, we have to find ways to continue doing that, uh, the contraction and expansion, because contraction and expansion is part of life. But in the ways nowadays, the way we live, there's so much contraction. There's no a lot of expansion, no a lot of ways where we can, for birth, for a baby to get here, we have contraction and expansion in many ways. In South America, we're talking about the new Pachacuti. The new Pachacuti is this new time where there's so much contraction and expansion, because there's a new time, there's a possibility of a new time. So, but we are not meant to just contract. We have to find ways. And again, art as one of these incredible ways which we can expand, because we're using imagination and we're communing with nature, and we're maybe even sharing with one another. And that's our healthiest flow, the healthiest flow we can find. So this piece around contraction and expansion is a big piece too. We can take in as a therapist, take in as a community leader, take in, and then how do we, where do we go to those ceremonies to release that, and put it on the ground and ask for it to be, uh, transformed as nourishment, again and again and again.
Yeah, I love that. How you talk a lot about like transforming energy. And so that also, like, as community leaders or direct service workers or caretakers in so many different ways, like you do, take on so much from energy from other folks because you're holding space for your family, for your loved ones, for your community members. And so rather than this idea of, I think for me, some of the ways that I connect around the things that you talk about with breathwork and somatics is my self-care. Like, yes, sometimes a bath works, and that is really great and relieving, or buying myself something nice on the internet, that kind of thing is great. But the actual, like, physiological act of allowing something to transform and being able to put it down and then become new energy, really connects for me. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a daily reminder those practices. And laughter with friends really helps, going on walks, being in nature, being laughing and chit chatting too. And but this piece around how much are we transmuting and transforming every day and how exhausting that is. Um, this piece around self-care and and again going back to how important is the self-care practices for the individual and our communal practices for for the well-being of these macro we are in. So it's almost like the microcosmos of self and the macrocosmos of everything around us, and how really the colonizing healing has to do with both of those, not just the micro, but we have to find ways to have these ceremonial, these circles, these dances, these ways in which we replenish the macro. And then we go, and in a way that is an expansion and then a contraction too, right? We go inside, we go to the expansion that is our community, we go back inside. And self-healing has to do with both of them, the and the ability to travel within and then go outside and then go back in, right? And again, crying being, when we cry in the Andes, we say is the truly the mirror of our souls. It has the essence of who we are. And crying is an act of healing. Crying and really, because what it is we have to soften something inside for tears to come down. So truly, we have to expand a little bit in the inside for tears to come down and for us to be able to release through our heart, through our sentiment, through our biggest treasure, which is our heart, our love. So finding moments to do that. And sometimes when things are too intense, we are ourselves scared of softening and crying because it feels very vulnerable. And at the same time, it is a direct act of healing. As crying is a direct act of healing together. And then we can always, after that, find ways to connect with our nature or friends or community to again reestablish ourselves back. So again, a little contraction, a little expansion, a little contraction, a little expansion, just in that continuous rhythm for healthy flow, healthy life force energy flowing through.
Yeah. You talking about that reminded me of another really great technique that we used with kids that you taught us. It was like push and pull kind of technique with our bodies. So we've, you know, been activated or need to move some dense energy, done the breath work, and now maybe like the body needs something to move. Could you talk a little bit about maybe a technique there that you would use?
Yes, that comes from, we all have self-protective mechanisms in our body that are innate to our animal bodies for self-preservation. In some ways, our physiology is made to for life. It's like we were made, who we are is designed to propel life towards life, towards life, towards life, towards life, towards life. So when we are in a situation that feels threatening or scary or um, uh, aggressive towards us, our initial natural mechanism will be to self-protect. To and our hands and our arms are the place where we have most access to protect. We protect our organs, and in some ways, we're always wanting to protect our heart and our faces. So this motion towards the outside is a self-protection, natural self-protection impulse. Now, sometimes when the danger is too much, we cannot access that and we freeze. And there's another piece around that work to in in the Andes, which I think is a very common technique in many original people's ways of healing. Is, when somebody is in front of a very dangerous situation, their impulse to protect will be there, but they won't be able to access it. It's almost like You will probably contract and still have the impulse, but not be able to move through it. So eventually in a healing process, what we invite people is to activate this response, which means, and if you are at home and you want to try this, you want to put your hands here and just engage your muscles as if you were pushing a wall, and just actually engage the muscles. So your hands are going to shake a little bit, engage them all the way to the arms, and you're going to push all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way until your arms are stretching all the way. And that will be accessing, and you can shake a little bit. It is a lot to do that movement. But it is in some ways activating the self-protective response and the ability to access again the impulse, the natural impulse that we wanted to have, but we couldn't. Um, with the kids and with adults too, because I do it too with adults. And there is a piece around how are you going to feel the push of a wall. So what I do is people pairs up, right? Side to side with two hands, and they take turns. So each person will take a turn and will actually push the other, but you have to give a resistance. So if Mick and I were doing the exercise, maybe it's Mick's turn to push towards me. So I will create resistance. So she actually has to work really, they have to work really, really hard towards me, and I'm gonna just put resistance, resistance, and maybe back up a little bit of the time, but really allow them to engage in their muscles, shoulders, arms, and hands. Um, it is an exercise and helps so much mobilize the desire to activate, and again to unblock any uh, trauma that will be or might have been in the shoulders, arms, hands. Um, it is, and it actually is fun too, because then you can play and just try different strengths and support each other in that way. So it's a wonderful community exercise to do for healing, for self-healing.
Yeah, the kids loved doing that one, as you can imagine, but also so did we, like to be able to do that as staff and then sometimes pairing up with kiddos, and letting them really push and create resistance because it does like it just releases so much energy in your arms. Um, and I also really loved one that we use it a lot. And it's something that you don't have to have a partner for. So we bought like, I don't know, 30 pool noodles and cut them all up and gave everyone a piece, like a, 2 feet long or so, a piece of pool noodle to kind of do the same like contraction expansion. Would you describe that one? Because you also like showed it with arms and stuff. So
Yes, that one is a really good one too. And originally it's done with an arm. So originally if you have a person you can pair with, so the same impulse that we have to push when we have gone through a trauma situation, our primal body wants to protect itself. And one of the ways we do it is actually in our primal body is sometimes we um, want to show teeth. Have you ever seen uh, an animal that gets really upset and they go, ah? We have the same impulse, and sometimes we want to actually, if we let our bodies do their thing, we will want to show teeth, bite, and squish, like really make something feel really tight. So to release that impulse in the hands, you can have a friend put their arm, and you will hold their arm with both hands like this, and squish. Oh yeah, thank you. And squish really, really, really tight. No nails, just fingers, but squish really, really, really tight, and let the arms shake a little bit, and that will unlock and release so much from the jaw, the neck, the shoulder, and the hands. And it has to be, as Mick said, these noodles, because if you don't have somebody, and this is something that you could use at home by yourself, at work, we will tell. People put it in your purse and your backpack, have it there. So then if you need to, you can get a piece of noodle, which is like 2 feet, right? And it's a squish, you can squish it, but it's not gonna break all the way. And you can put nails in there if you want to, and you will squish it so tight. Every time you feel a surge of anger, of intent or intensity or tension, or even when there is numbness and you don't feel anything with a lot of depression, you can activate some responses with that. So squish it really, really tight. And it helps too to do this. Open your mouth. So you're opening your jaw area and hold it until you cannot hold it any longer. And then relax. And that in itself, again, is a surge, allows that surge of energy to travel from the jaw, neck, shoulders, arms, all the way to the hands. At times, I also have people use the same noodle and bite it, because our most primal response, especially when we're babies, if we're working with trauma or recovering from a difficulty from very early on, we can have that piece of foam in the back molars and just bite it with a lot of anger and allow that surge of energy, of intensity, to just buy that, and it's going to release in all of the brain and the jaw that tension. So it is actually a wonderful tool to support release whenever it's needed in a healthy and safe way. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, those ones really, I think, are my go-to when working with myself, obviously, when I'm feeling like I need to move some energy, and then also with kiddos, because I think the one, especially with the squeezing of the arm, it doesn't, I think sometimes getting someone to stand up and do something physical is really hard. So if we can get them to orient with breath work and looking around and noticing shapes and colors and kind of doing a small counting of those things, then if I'm sitting next to them, I can get them to squeeze my arm. And that feels really supportive to me. And I've always had like pretty positive responses with that one. Yeah.
It is a nice thing to have, just to buy a lot of those noodles, then are not so expensive, and then cut them and have them. So whenever somebody needs them, you can just give them the piece and show them a few exercises. And it's just a handy tool that you can use anywhere. And because you don't make sound, you can use it anytime without people noticing that what you're doing truly. So yeah, it's so helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could talk a bit about some of the work you do with music, because I feel like that, obviously deep connection there with Indigenous folks, like drumming. And I grew up listening to drum music. That was my grandfather when he wanted us to nap, or, I think maybe just wanted us to stop talking. It was drum music went up really loud. It was very soothing. Every time I hear that, I just kind of like settle in my body and relax. And so I know that that really helps. And, all different types of music, but I find music that doesn't have a whole lot of words, but maybe lots of sounds really helps. But really interested in hearing that about you, because you're also an amazing musician in addition to being a therapist. So how would you use that in your practice?
Thank you. I come from a musical family. There's been music and dance always. Everybody in the family dancing. Traditional Andean music with the big pan pipes and big drums, and just circle within circles within circles within circles, for hours. And so I learned the flute since I was very little, since I was about 6. And then I started to learn classical flute as well. And then I went into learning all other quena flutes and zampoñas, and then some strings instruments. But always curious about, I was very curious why art feels so good, why it feels so good to do art, why it feels so good to dance, why it can change if we are not feeling good, then all of a sudden we feel good when we do that. So I was by one of my teachers kind of taken under his wing, and then he shared a lot of things about how sound can, which is the same thing than the breath, right? How sound can transmute and transform something into something else. So a lot of the the music or the sounds that come through are with an intention of healing, or an intention of being able to give sound to a specific moment or feeling, to transmute it and transform it into something else. So a lot of the songs or the sounds or the cantos that come from that place of specific moments where I saw something and then it needed to be transformed into something else because it was maybe pain that needed to be tended to in some ways, and these sounds were able to do it. I feel that the songs, or the cantos as I call them, are really there, and one has just um have to be quiet enough for them to come down and then travel through you. Truly it's almost like then uh, it's like life in itself using you as an instrument to play the song they want to play through you. And it is incredible. I mean, sound has the ability to liquefy matter. I mean, truly, we can make matter liquid with sound, and that's how healing happens too. There is a specific way in which sound can be used to shift matter and bring back balance, because health is just balance, absolute balance. So a lot of the sound that I use in the sound baths or healing ceremonies then we do is about how do we invite sound to come and bring balance back and help us uh, come back to balance ourselves. So, and myself included, because I need it so much as well. So it's a constant learning with that. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you. So this Wednesday, you'll be joining us at Culture Night, NAEA's Culture Night. We have a standing Wednesday evening event where we engage in like social, cultural arts and plant medicine healing, traditional indigenous games. And this Wednesday, in honor of really uplifting our wellness during this time, we asked Claudia to join us and offer a sound bath, and she has graciously said yes. So excited. So this Wednesday at 6:30, 6:30 to 8-ish range, we will be on Zoom, and I think I have a flyer here I can share. For okay. So I have our flyer here. There are lots of things going on this week in Portland, local week of action, but because we're in a pandemic, everything is virtual. So anyone, anywhere can and is invited to join us. So on all week long, the Morrison Bridge lights will be red. The Portland Bureau of Transportation have 4 MMIWR signs that are going to be throughout the city, which is really special and wonderful that our city is uplifting this as well. On Mondays, we began today. We will be running at Fern Hill Park on 37th and Ainsworth, and this is just in Northeast Portland. There's a running track, a community running track, who've been meeting. Our recreation coordinator has been meeting there throughout the winter, which is pretty special. That people are running in the rain, running in all types of Portland weather. Really thinking about wellness and balance as a family, and that's something that we've been trying to provide our community members access to. And so Mondays will be running during this month, which is great. And then every day during Power Hour, there'll be different guests talking about Indigenous ways of healing. Tonight, there is a Two-Spirit LGBTQ support circle, and that will also be focused on MMIWR awareness for the Two-Spirit community. Move back up. Tomorrow on Power Hour, there'll be Theta New Breast will be here talking about healing work and grassroots activism. Wednesday, the city of Portland will have an MMIWR proclamation that can be viewed on YouTube. And then Power Hour will have Acacia Red Elk, which is really great. You'll get to do powwow yoga. I'm super excited for that one. If anyone's ever seen it, it's a bit of yoga and some powwow moves in between, which is amazing. And from 2 to 4, there's going to be PCC is hosting an MMIW panel with Abigail Echohawk, Luhui White Bear, and Kelly Gonzalez, and 3 incredible, amazing advocates for our community. I hope that everyone will be able to join. It's going to be really special to have the 3 of them in one place talking on this topic. And the men's support circle that evening will be from 6 to 8. And their theme will be Let's End the Violence Against Women, led by Jean Sabagan, who's incredible. We had him join us for spring break and did flute making and music with our kiddos virtually, and is an amazing storyteller as well. And then that night, 6:30, we will have Claudia join us for a sound bath, a healing bath. So excited for that. On Thursday, Multnomah County will also have a MMIWR proclamation that can be viewed on YouTube. And from noon to 1 for Power Hour on Thursday will be Michaela Madrid from the Sovereign Bodies Institute, and we'll be talking about MMIWR 101, just kind of information place to about this movement, which would be really wonderful. And that afternoon from 3 to 5, the Women and Youth Support Circle will have a special guest, Malia, who is part of the Youth Support Circle and is going to be offering self-defense tools. And I'm very excited to see that one as well. And then Friday Power Hour is self-care, is self-love. And members of the PDX MMIWR organizing group are going to be joining that. I'm wearing my earrings in support, the Self-Love Club, really thinking about, healing really starts internally and for ourselves. And yeah, so that's our week. And I'm so excited that I was able to join you all here today and have Claudia on and just introduce the week. Yeah, is there any kind of last things that you would like to share, Claudia, about that, or maybe some things that folks might be able to expect on Wednesday, how they should come prepared, what they should bring, what environment they should curate for themselves as they listen?
Yes, thank you, Mick. Wow, fantastic to know all that which is happening this week. Thank you so much. What an honor to be here with you, truly. Thank you. And Wednesday, bring comfortable clothes, water. Um, it is best to have a place where you can sit down and lay down as well, because at different times a person might just want to lay down and just taking the sound. We will be doing some of the breathing exercises then to be able to help the body release and stay and come back to presence and come back to balance. So bring water, comfortable clothes. It'll be wonderful to have a place that doesn't have a lot of sound, or a place that is kind of quiet. So again, our bodies relax when to heal, they have to relax, and to relax we have to feel safe. So the best possible thing to create a safe place, so then one can relax, so then one can start doing the healing process, the natural healing process that kind of turns on by itself when we find ourselves in quiet. And that's all. Maybe a notebook if you want to take notes of what might come up in different practices, and you might want to remember it for your daily tending. And yeah, that's all I can think of. And again, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think just for from experience having sound baths with you, and then that really introduced me to the whole world of like the idea of a sound bath. I have a little Bluetooth speaker and I'll put it right by my head because when it's virtual, I want to like feel the sound as well. And you really can if you like crank it up. Um, and I'll make like a comfy spot on my floor near my altar with like pillows and smudge and things that I might need to support myself, water. Claudia always talks about a bit of water and salt to kind of absorb that like negative or like denser energy, and then being able to offer that to the earth when we're done. And I always have a blanket and a weighted blanket. I'm very specific. A
I
blanket.
love that. Yes.
I like get really set up
I
because
love that.
I find it really like takes me away. Where I'm like very centered in my body, but then my mind is able to just like settle and move through some things. And I typically will like think about an intention, or things that I've been, you know, sifting through or filtering through in my personal life or in my work life, things that I want to like release usually. So yeah, there's still a little bit of advice for people that might be new. I've set up the whole living room for my family. My mom has joined, my sister, my partner, you know, the dog will like all get really comfy and listen to a sound bath in our living room. And it's a really nice family activity. I think I've converted everyone to them. So hope that we can also convert our entire community to them as well. But thank you. And it looks like the whole schedule is added to the Facebook Live comment section. It's also posted to Native Wellness Institute's Facebook page. And yeah, I think that's all that I have today. I just really like thank you so, so much for joining us. I love you so much, Claudia, and I appreciate everything that you bring to the world and to our community and to me as a friend. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mick, for the invitation and the trust and the friendship. And love you so much too. And thank you for the invitation. And hopefully see you on Wednesday. Oh, please come and yeah. And there's every little bit that we can do to tend to ourselves for our wellness, for microcosmos, so then we can add to this macrocosmos and need so much. But we start here. Yeah. Mm. Gusto verte. Muchas gracias. Urpillay son collar.